We all know that Manchester United have got to get our sales right this summer. Just as much as we want to get our signings right, we can't really afford the signings we want unless we make the sales. Fabrizio Romano has provided an update on 7 names who Ten Hag is prepared to sell this summer in order to give United the budget that we need. I'm going to run through that full list. I've already done my list on this about a week ago. There was a lot more on that list than 7. I'm going to run through it, speak about each player, the players that aren't on that list, compare it into a budget and see where we can get to. I think it should be a video that you enjoy, so make sure you do drop a like on it if you do by the end of it. But we know full well that Manchester United's budget, right, is somewhere in the region of 100 to 130 million. This is Laurie Whitwell from The Athletic a couple of days ago saying, look, Man United's executives are working towards a net spend of 100 million pounds or Harry Kane. And we need far more than just one big signing, one big striker signing this summer. We've obviously got 55 million for Mason Mount, but what about the goalkeeper? What about the other striker? What about maybe a second striker? What about another midfielder? What about a right-sided centre-back? How can we afford all of that? We need to make sales. Now, Fabrizio Romano has released this video a couple of hours ago with United making a decision on 7 players. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to run through that list from Fabrizio, and I'm going to compare it to my list that I had from a week ago with all these players that I think we could potentially be selling and the overall money I think we could be raising. Spoiler alert, it's not going to be over 200 million if we only sell 7 of them. So far, Manchester United have done this summer, right? We've let Jones, Butland, Zebe, Ethan Galbraith, they've all left on free transfers. And as it stands, so has David De Gea. And that could, of course, change. Iqbal and Laird have both left on permanent deals, and Manchester United have received around about 1.6 mil for both of them. Doesn't really move the needle that much. So let's run through the list of 7 players that Fabrizio has given an update on. And let's discuss each one of those, add a price next to them, put that next to a net spend. Can we get towards 120 million? And for United to get what we want this summer? We'll find out. First on that list is Dean Henderson, that United are still waiting to complete a deal with Nottingham Forest. This feels like one of the absolute certainties, doesn't it? When it comes to players being sold this summer. Dean Henderson, what price did we have down here before? We had, where is he? 20 million. I think 20 million, it still seems about right? So Henderson, 20 million. That would bring that total sales up to 21.6 million. I think he's guaranteed to go to Forest. I'd be so surprised if he doesn't. Second on that list, as you can see there is still a chance that Harry Maguire leaves. At this moment in time, we've had really loose interest from Spurs. I think that's about it. Maybe we was included in a conversation around a player plus cash for Declan Rice, and that never went anywhere. But Harry Maguire, there is a chance he leaves. And he needs to leave. He's not going to have a future in my opinion anyway. Not going to have a future at Manchester United. And we need to be cashing in. Now, I put him down here as, look, 40 million. Maybe that was a bit overzealous. Let's downgrade that to 30 million, which I still think is a reasonable amount. And that would bring our total sales up to 51 million. Nearly covering the amount that we've spent on Mason Mount. So nearly towards a net zero there. Still a lot more to do. Bailly and Telles both have been told that they're leaving. And it's going to be really weird. I think a little bit weird how little money it looks like we're going to be getting for Bailly and Telles. So I am down here as 2 million and what Telles is 10 million. It's not going to be much, man. It really is not going to be much. You're probably going to have Bailly down there. As I said, we're being linked with 2 million. And let's just reduce Telles by 5. So that's 7 million. So add that onto that, which means that we are currently in profit. Only signing Mason Mount. Elanga. The idea is to let Elanga go. And Elanga, I think I've said this a few times now. He's worth more than most reports are suggesting because of his age, because of his experience. He's got 50 plus senior appearances. He's a senior Swedish international as well. What did I have him down here on this one as? I had him down there as what we're being linked with is, where's Elanga? 20. I think it's United should be getting 20 mil for Elanga, right? And there's plenty of people that are disagreeing with that. Don't think he's worth that much. I would disagree. Because of his age, because of his experience, as I said. That would bring our total sales up to 78 million. And then Fred is the next name on that list. And what's Fabrizio said about him? Fred, United are open to offers, and it's a concrete possibility. And if Fred leaves, there's quite a universal figure that's being put next to his name, and that is 20 million as well, which would bring our sales up to just shy of 100 million. I'm a little bit surprised that Fred's leaving, but I suppose Mount is effectively a more technical version of Fred. He does all the hard graft that Fred does, but has more quality with the ball at his feet. So in that sense, it's quite an easy sign Mount for 55, sell Fred for 20, net spend at 35. You've upgraded yourself in one position. Nothing really on McTominay being sold. I'll run through that in a little bit later. But Donny van de Beek is the last name on that list. That photo of Donny van de Beek arriving back at Carrington today, he doesn't look happy to be there. I don't know. Maybe he just had a rough night's sleep. But Donny van de Beek, United are, as Fabrizio says here, look, we're prepared to discuss his exit. We absolutely should be, man. He doesn't. Maybe he does want to be. Maybe he wants to try again, but he wants regular football. You're not going to get that at Manchester United. So we've got him down here as 20 million. Yeah, maybe I'm a bit excited with that one. Let's put him down as 15 mil. So 15 mil on that. It's 113.6 mil so far. Now on that list there are players that aren't on it that I'm surprised aren't, right? Brandon Williams, maybe he's just not been mentioned by Fabrizio. It seems like an easy one. It seems like an obvious 5 mil for Williams. If somebody comes in and wants to sign him, of course. Another one there is Hannibal Medbury. Hannibal is, I think it's just unlucky timing for him. I don't really see him getting minutes inside this squad next season. You might say that if we're going to be switching towards 2 number 8s, that he could deputise in one of those roles, and that could be fair enough. But I think if United get a good offer for Hannibal, I think Ten Hag will sell him. But there's two big names on that list, that aren't on that list, and Martial. And I suppose when you see how much United are struggling to sign one striker, how on earth are we going to be signing 2 strikers? And also, Martial's wages are 250 grand. That's definitely a sticking point. I didn't want to see Martial as a Manchester United player next year because I know how the story's going to go. It's going to be exciting. He's going to break through, and it's going to be injury, rinse and repeat, and that's just what's going to happen. But because, as I said, if you look, Weghorst's gone, and he wasn't really scoring goals. Still can't get Kane. Højlund, we're struggling with the price. Moani, I think we did struggle just as much with the price of that. Maybe the reality is that we can't afford to get 2 strikers, so Martial won't be sold, and Martial will stay. And McTominay's not on that list either. If you look at the players going into the summer, a player who was linked, maybe not linked most heavily, but a midfield player I really did expect us to sell was McTominay, because I thought he's worth 30 mil. And I don't think there'll be shortages of clubs. Newcastle heavy linked. They've obviously gone out and signed Tonali. Maybe McTominay will stay. And out of the 2, Fred is the one that will be sold. And McTominay, that's Martial. McTominay would be the one that Erik Ten Hag keeps. So if that is the case, and Martial stays because we can't afford to get 2 strikers in the same summer, and McTominay stays because Ten Hag feels he can use him in that sort of more aggressive number 8 role, which I think he's better at, towards the edge of the opposition's box, then that will leave United in the region, right? I put Henderson as 20, Maguire as 30, Bailly and Tellez as 7 combined, Elanga as 20, Fred as 20, and Van der Beek as 15. That will bring in 113 million. So let's go over here now, and let's just kind of put some ballpark figures for what we think. I think a goalkeeper, right? If United get the goalkeeper that we want, you're probably looking at about 45 million. Max. I don't think we go over that. If you're looking at a striker of the quality that we need, I'd be surprised if United managed to get that for less than 50 million. Again, these are pretty ballpark figures here, but less than 50 million. That's a number 8. That's a goalkeeper, and that's a striker. Probably, I would say, the absolute minimum that we need this summer. I would argue that we need another sort of number 6 style midfielder. So a Casemiro alternative. I would argue a second striker. And I think that's probably as much as we could realistically expect given the budgets that we've got. But let's do some number crunching now, right? So we've got, if Manchester United do this, right? So it's 55 million plus 45. Let's get the calculator over there. Plus 50. That'll be 150 million in signings, right? And if we were to sell 113 million worth, right? That would bring our net spend down to 36 million. And if our budget is in the region of 100 million, which is what is being reported by the Athletic, then we've still got, what's that? 63.7 mil. Oh, 1 second there. Too many windows going on here. 63.7 mil. Let me get that down there. Remaining. For a second set, net spend there would be 34.6 mil. My God, I've got so many tabs open. 36, no, it's 36.4, not 34.6. 36. Man, I need to get producers in to do this. 36.4 mil would leave, roughly. That doesn't even match up now. I swear my numbers are wrong. Let's do it one more time. 150 mil minus 113.6, 36.4. And then you go 100 mil minus 36.4, 63.6. Can't say. Do your maths right. But that is what, if our budget's 100 million and Fabrizio's correct, and these are the players that could be sold, and if all of them are sold, and the prices that I've just discussed there for Maguire and Tabai and Fred and Elanga and every single other one, and that brings us in 116 mil, and we signed, say, Mason Mount, 55 mil, that's done, a goalkeeper for 45 and a striker for 50, that could leave roughly 60-ish mil for maybe a Casemiro alternative and maybe a second striker. Could be done. Could be done. Maths there, numbers, man, they nearly got me. But what do you think about that overall? If, as I said, Fabrizio's correct, and these are the 7 players who will be leaving Manchester United. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And whether you think that those signings there, Mason Mount, a goalkeeper for 45 mil, a striker for 50 mil, which might be, it might be way short of what it is. That's not what Atalanta want for Højlund. And that's not what Frankfurt want for Moani either. And certainly not for Harry Kane. Let me know what you think in the comments below. It's a really interesting one because we've got to get the sales right this summer. It's so important.